Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to another session of general awareness. So, we will be discussing 25 odd questions which can be very important for your exams. So, let's start with the first question. Who is the current Chief Minister of Punjab? Current Chief Minister of Punjab is Mr. Bhagwat Mann. Bhagwat Mann is the Chief Minister of Punjab. He is from Aam Aadmi Party. What is the outlay for RAMP scheme, raising and accelerating MSME performance program announced in budget 2022? So the outlay is 6,000 crores. Who is the MSME minister? MSME minister is Mr. Narayan Taturane. Narayan Taturane. Or in short, you can remember NTR. Narayan Taturane, NTR. Okay. MSME is micro, small and medium enterprises. Micro, small and medium enterprises. MSME means micro, small and medium enterprises. Also, some other schemes which have been launched or announced in this budget, which is PM Gati Shakti. PM Gati Shakti. By the name, you might have guessed, it is about roadways. So the scheme announced for 25,000 kilometers of national highway in the financial year, 2022-23. 22-23 is the financial year. So financial year starts from 1st April and ends in 31st March. This is the norm that maximum companies and government also follow. Okay. So also they have announced 4 multimodal logistics parks through PPP model. 4 multimodal logistics park through PPP model. 4 multimodal logistic park through PPP model. PPP model means private public partnership. Private public partnership. So the private companies and the government come together to make a scheme happen. Like in case of national highways also. You must have seen tolls collecting money from them. So they build. That is also another model, that is build, operate, transfer model, BOT. Build, operate and transfer. So they have been given permission to collect toll for few years, then that will be public property. Okay. Next. Which company recently became India's 100th unicorn? So India's 100th unicorn recently became company called Open. Okay. Okay. Also some other schemes and their outlays or their commitments. Nal Se Jal scheme. Nal Se Jal for connecting every household with tap water connection. So they have announced that they will connect 3.8 crore household. Nal Se Jal. Then PM Posan. PM Posan scheme. PM Posan scheme has an outlay of 10,234 crores. And Saksam Anganwadi. Saksam Anganwadi. Anganwadi is the local center where underage children, where small children and mothers, they benefit from this scheme. Their health and their nutrition is taken care of. So that scheme also together with Posan 2.0, Saksam Anganwadi and Posan 2.0 together the outlay is 20,263 crore. 20,263 crores. Then outlay for Mission Vatsalaya. Vatsalaya is for fishing industry. Vatsalaya is 1,472 crores. And Mission Shakti outlay is 3,184 crores. In Awas Yojana, Awas is the Yojana for scheme for household scheme for building affordable homes for the poor. That is 80 lakh household. 80 lakh household will be the beneficiary. 80 lakh, not crore. 80 lakh. Then there is another scheme called Vibrant Village Program. You must have heard about Vibrant Gujarat. There is another scheme called Vibrant Village Program. Vibrant Village Program is for developing villages in the northern border villages. Also, they have announced that post offices will become 100% CBS. 100% CBS branches. CBS means core banking solution. Post offices will become 100% CBS branches. And there will be 75 development banking units. Development banking units in 75 aspirational districts of the country. Okay. So, what is the current repo rate of our, as declared by RBI? The current repo rate is 4.9%. Repo is 4.9%. Reverse repo is 3.35%. So repo is the rate at which RBI lends money to banks. Another important term regarding repo is LTRO. What is LTRO? Long term repo operations. Long term repo operations. So how does actually repo work? Repo works like government actually gives them securities. So in the exchange of securities, they lend money and the government promises to buy them back. That is how money in the economy is circulated. So if there is too much money supply in the economy, which will cause inflation. Too much money supply will cause inflation because there is a lot of money in the hands of people and people will demand a lot of goods. So when demand will increase, price of goods will increase. So there will be inflation in the economy. So to control this, RBI will increase the repo rate. So what will happen? So the money that banks get to lend out, repo will increase. So the money that banks have to lend out goes down. So when there is less money to lend, so credit decreases. So as credit decreases, money with the people decreases. So that leads to decrease in growth, but it helps in controlling the inflation. So RBI has a target of keeping the inflation at 2.6%, 2 to 6%. So it should be between 2 to 6%, so that inflation is also not high and it also supports growth. 2 to 6% CPI. What is CPI? Consumer price inflation. CPI is consumer price inflation. Sorry, consumer price index, not inflation. CPI inflation. So consumer price index, and WPI is wholesale price index. Okay. Next question. Also, you can also remember two other rates which are important, which is statutory liquidity ratio. Statutory liquidity ratio is now 18%, and cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve ratio is 4.5%. These have been increased after a long time, so you should remember it. So what is cash reserve ratio? Actually, the banks take deposits from people. So you, me, some other people, everyone, we keep deposit with banks. And banks lend out those money to institutions or other person who need money. But how much of that money can you lend out actually? So RBI has mandated to keep some portion as cash reserves with the RBI. That portion is called the cash reserve ratio. And some portion you have to keep as government securities or gold or bonds, government bonds. So that percentage is 18%. Okay. Next. Which of the following is not a tributary of Ganga? So Bhagirathi is not a tributary of Ganga. Bhagirathi itself is the starting of Ganga. All other tributaries, they meet Bhagirathi later to form the main Ganga river. Actually, Bhagirathi and Alaknanda meet from where it is called Ganga. So Bhagirathi and Alaknanda, they meet at a point called Devprayag. Devprayag is the meeting point of Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. Some other meeting points which are important. Okay, so rest all are actually tributaries. Gomti, Kosi and Gandak all are tributaries of Ganga. Now Devprayag is the meeting point of Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. Then Rudraprayag. Rudraprayag is the meeting point of Alaknanda and Mandakini. Alaknanda and Mandakini. Then Kumaraprayag is the meeting point of Pindar and Alaknanda. Pindar and Alaknanda. And lastly, Vishnuprayag. Vishnuprayag is the meeting point of Alaknanda and Dhauliganga. Dhauliganga and Alaknanda. Moving on. When was Startup India scheme launched? Startup India scheme was launched in 2016. To boost the startup culture in our country, it was launched on 16th January 2016 by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Next, by how much basis point RBI increased the repo rate in the recent bi-monthly policy? So here actually answer is given 40, but recently it has increased by 50 basis point. It first increased by 40, then another bi-monthly policy happened, the latest one, in which repo rate was increased by 50 basis point, and now the repo rate is at 4.9%. Okay. Moving on. Who is the cabinet minister in Ayush Ministry? So Mr. Ayush Ministry, in the Ayush Ministry, the minister is Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal. Narendra Singh Tomar is the minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Sri Piyush Goyal handles very important portfolios: commerce and industry, consumer affairs, textiles, and food and public distribution. So 4 important portfolios: commerce and industry, consumer affairs, textiles, and food and public distribution. Then, okay, so Sarbananda Sonowal is the Ayush Minister. Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar handles Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Mr. Giriraj Singh. Giriraj Singh is the Minister for Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. Giriraj Singh, Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. And MSME Minister is Narayan Taturane. I said it earlier in the previous question. Oh yes. Who is the Minister for Mines, Coal and Parliamentary Affairs? Mines, Coal and Parliamentary Affairs. His name is Mr. Prahlad Joshi. Prahlad Joshi is the Minister for Mines, Coal and Parliamentary Affairs. When was the first Battle of Tarain fought? First Battle of Tarain was fought in 1191. Between whom? It was fought between Prithviraj Chauhan and Mahmud of Ghor. And who was the winner? The winner was Prithviraj Chauhan. So the Rajputs defeated Mahmud of Ghor and set back their entry to India. But later actually they entered after few years. Some other battle which you might remember from exam point of view. So firstly, Battle of Plassey. Everyone knows this. It was happened in Battle of Plassey was in 1757. It was between East India Company and Nawab Sirajuddaula of Bengal. East India Company and Nawab Sirajuddaula. Why it is important? Because it started the British rule in India. So before that East India Company was there, but after this they started levying taxes on people of Bengal, and then British Raj actually started. So this question comes very much times. It is repeated question in exams, but still it is important. So Battle of Plassey was in 1757. Then 1764 it was Battle of Buxar. Battle of Buxar between East India Company and Mir Qasim. Between East India Company and Mir Qasim. Then in 1526 first Battle of Panipat. 1526 first Battle of Panipat. Between whom? First Battle of Panipat. Between Babar and Ibrahim Lodi. Babar and Ibrahim Lodi. Lodi dynasty. Ibrahim Lodi from Lodi dynasty. And second Battle of Panipat was held between. Second Battle of Panipat was held in 1556 between Akbar and Hemu. Between Akbar and Hemu. And there was a famous war general in this war whose name was Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan was the general who fought for Akbar. Bairam Khan. Also another important battle, Battle of Wandiwash. You can expect questions from any of these battle because these questions are very important. Battle of Wandiwash was held in 1760 between French and British. Between the French and British in India. So both were trying to conquer. Okay, next question. Who wrote Raj Tarangini? Who wrote Raj Tarangini? So Raj Tarangini was written by Kalhan. These are actually old books of India. Kautilya wrote Arthashastra. This one you know. Kautilya wrote Arthashastra. Panini was written by Ashtadhyay. Panini was written by Ashtadhyay. Ashtadhyay. Then Ashwaghosa. Sorry, Panini wrote Ashtadhyay. Ashtadhyay was written by Panini. Ashwaghosa wrote Buddha Charitam. Buddha Charitam was written by Ashwaghosa. And some other books. Who wrote Ramcharitmanas? Very important question. Who wrote Ramcharitmanas? Ramcharitmanas was written by Tulsidas. Ramcharitmanas was written by Tulsidas. And who wrote Harsacharitra? Harsacharita. Harsacharita was written by Banbhatta. Harsacharita was written by Banbhatta. Okay, next question. Type of market with a few farms producing goods and large number of buyers. So there are few farms which produce goods, but number of buyers are large. What is the answer? Oligopoly. Oligopoly is a type of market in which there are few farms producing large number of goods for a large number of people. Monopoly is where there is single seller. Monopoly is where there is single seller. One seller, many buyer. Monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition, there are many sellers and they compete with each other. Like your FMCG products or fast moving consumer good products. So many companies actually produce shampoo, for example. So, and there is very less difference between the products made between them. So they rely on what? Advertising or other modes of to increase their sales. So it is a very competitive market, that is monopolistic competition. And perfect competition is where there are large number of buyers and sellers. Large number of buyers and sellers, and buyers have complete knowledge of the product. That is perfect competition. Next, which of the following is responsible for intracellular digestion? Which of the following is responsible for intracellular digestion? The correct answer is lysosome. So lysosome is also called what? Lysosome is also called what? It is called the suicidal bag of the cell. Suicidal bag of the cell. So when the cell starts to decay or it has some problems, so lysosome starts to eat up that entire cell to save the others. So it is called the suicidal bag of the cell. Mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell. Everyone knows this. So it is responsible for cellular respiration. It is responsible for cellular respiration. Yeah. Centrosome is responsible for, let me clear this. Yeah. Centrosome is responsible for formation of spindle fiber between pole during cell division. So it is important during cell division. It forms spindle fibers. Spindle fibers which help in cell division. It forms spindle fiber between the poles. Then ribosome. Ribosome is, what is the function of ribosome? Ribosome actually performs protein synthesis. Protein synthesis. So ribosome performs protein synthesis. And last one, Golgi bodies. What is the function of Golgi bodies? Golgi bodies function is storage, processing and packaging of material. So storage, processing and packaging of cell material. Next question. Which of the following is not a REIT? So there are 5 important REITs. Which you must remember. It is a term of the law. This is from Constitution. These are questions from Constitution. So ad valorem is not a REIT. The rest are all REITs. So what does this mean? Prohibition, habeas corpus and mandamus. What does this mean? So prohibition means to prohibit a court or tribunal from making order. Like a higher court can tell a lower court that you don't give order in this case. We will give order. So like high court taking over a case from lower district courts, or ordering a district court not to give out judgment. That is prohibition. It is a writ. Now habeas corpus means to have a body. To have a body. And mandamus means to command. Like the court can direct someone to do something. Suppose a law is passed and people are debating over the law, whether the law is good or bad. Then the Supreme Court can give a stay order, like to not make the law happen in the country. It can give an order. And habeas corpus means to have a body, similar thing, but you can have a like court can give you protection. That is habeas corpus. So if somebody accuses me of something, then the court can say, or somebody have kept me, the police have detained me, then the court can ask the state or the police that on what grounds you have detained that person. That writ is habeas corpus. Okay. Next, certiorari. There are 2 writs remaining: certiorari and quo warranto. Certiorari and quo warranto. These are all terms of court actually. I guess they are Latin terms. That's why they sound like this. So certiorari means to quash an order or decision. So if High Court has given a decision, Supreme Court can quash that order. And coerentu means inquire the legality of a claim. So if somebody claims something, then the court can say on what are the reasons for your claim, or why have you claimed as such. That is coerentu. These cases actually generally leading to these are related to actually appointments and resignations. Then there can be a coerentu situation. So like if he claims the office on some ground, then the court can ask, why are you there? What is the reason for your such legality? What is the legality of such claim you have made? Okay, so moving on. What is the minimum strength of the house needed to transact business? It is 1/10. So 10% is the minimum strength of the house needed to transact the business in the parliament. Next, so what is the number of seats in Lok Sabha in India? It is 545. 545 seats, out of which highest is by UP. UP has 80 seats in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha. And Rajya Sabha there are 250 seats, and 1/3 retire every 2 years. 1/3 retire every 2 years in Rajya Sabha. Term of Lok Sabha is 5 years in our country. Okay, next. Lahore session of Congress, in which demand for Purna Swaraj was made, was held in the year. Very important. Congress sessions. Always you can expect questions from these Congress sessions. Very important. So Lahore session of Congress was held in the year 1929. So try to remember not like this. Try to remember serially, or sorry, from the starting. Let's start with first session of Congress. First session of Congress was held in 1885. Where? In Bombay. And Bombay where? It was held in Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College. Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College. And there were 72 delegates. The first session of Congress was held with 72 delegates. Then it was in 1885. Then 1907, some important sessions. These are important sessions. 1900 session was held in Surat. And what was the key thing of this session? Congress was split. Congress was split in this session in 1907. Try to write this down, then it will help you. Then in 1916 was held in Lucknow. So after Surat, Bombay, Surat, then Lucknow. 1885, 1907, then 1916. It was held in Lucknow. Why? What is the importance of this session? Congress was merged again. In 1907 it split. Then in 1916 it was merged. Congress merged in 1916. Then 1924, very important session. It was held in Belgaum. What is the key thing of this session? Gandhi became the president. Gandhi became the president of Congress in 1924. Then in 1925, a year later, first woman president of Indian National Congress. Who was she? It was the first time a female was made. A woman had become the president of Indian National Congress. Srimati Sarojini Naidu became the first president of Indian National Congress. 1925 session, which was held in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Then 1929, another important session. It was held in Lahore, present day Pakistan. And their demand was made for Purna Swaraj, or complete independence. 1929 session. Then in 1936, it was held in Fazipur. Demand for Constituent Assembly. Was made. Also in the last question, that 1/10 of the strength is needed to transact business of the parliament. It is Article 100. Article 100 of the Constitution. 100th article. of the constitution. Okay, next. Who among the following rulers introduced Mansabdari system? Mansabdari system was introduced by Akbar. First Buddhist council was held during the reign, or who was the ruler during the first Buddhist council? The answer is Ajatasattu. So yeah, Ajatasattu. So the first Buddhist council was held in 483 BC during the rule of Ajatasattu. Then second Buddhist council was held in 383 BC, 100 years later. And who was the ruler during that time? Kalasoka. And after that, third Buddhist council was held during the reign of Asoka. And fourth Buddhist council was held in 98 AD. And who was the ruler during that time? Kanishk. Kanishk was the ruler during that time. Next question. Second battle of Panipat was fought in 1556 between, I already discussed this, Akbar and Hemu. According to Union Budget 2022-2023, how many new Vande Bharat trains will be launched? How many? 400, yeah. What is the tax rate on income tax from digital cryptocurrencies? So cryptocurrencies are taxed now. After 1st April 2022, there will be tax, and the tax rate is 30%. The state of West Bengal has how many districts? How many districts are there? 23. 3 new districts will be formed. I think 3 or 5 new districts, I guess. They will split up North Chabis Pargana and South Chabis Pargana. They will split up to make 5 more districts. But they have not been announced yet. Okay, next question. Who was conferred with Gyanpith Award 2021? Gyanpith Award 2021 was awarded to Mr. Damodar Maujo. Next, what is the chemical used to add odor to LPG? Odor means smell. So LPG is actually odorless, but so that you can understand that if any leak has happened, special chemical is added, which is known as ethyl mercaptan. Indian Standard Time is based on 82.5 degree longitude. So which passes through or which does not pass through which of the following states? Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Odisha. It does not pass through Uttarakhand. It passes through Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh. Sorry, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. Yeah. Padma Shri M. Vijayan, who recently passed away in April, was a structural biologist. Who is the Chief Election Commissioner? Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Okay, these are some questions which are important for your exam. I hope you have liked this session, the questions. Please try to follow what you have written in your notes, because that is important. You will forget actually. If you do many questions, you will forget. So try to remember those questions you have read already, because don't go for new questions if you have already not memorized the old ones. So if you forget old ones and start reading new, there is no benefit of that. Okay, thank you for your patient hearing. We will meet in the next session.